Hi,
Hi.
welcome back. The final Etheria Restart beta opened up a few days ago, and it will close in about a week from now. A lot of people have been looking forward to this game because a lot of people saw it as a competitor to Star Rail, which is probably the most successful turn-based RPG gacha game right now, and a lot of people want Etheria Restart to be a replacement for Star Rail, at least at an individual level. Now obviously nothing is killing a Hoyo game except Hoyoverse themselves as always, but in the case of Etheria Restart, even the people memeing about it, including me, are very wrong. If Etheria Restart isn't somehow polished up very well before they release next month, then Etheria Restart will fail in front of Honkai Star Rail miserably. So, in this video, I want to do a small review of Etheria Restart's beta, the good, the bad, and the ugly, see how it compares to its probably biggest competitor Honkai Star Rail, to see what it has to improve upon before the launch. Before we start though, just do me a small favor and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this in the future, and join the Express Friend Discord server for a fun and lovely community to hang out with, all about gaming and anime. Without further ado, let's get on to it. So let's get a few things out of the way. This is obviously still just a beta, however the game is releasing exactly 17 days after the beta ends, and other than small balance changes, they won't really have time to fix all the stuff that I'm going to address in today's video. I also haven't played too much of Etheria Restart, a couple hours at most, so there may be things here and there that I just don't know about or have completely missed, but rest assured that I know what I'm talking about and I'm pulling nothing out of my ass. Finally, before we really get into the creme of the video, I want to admit that I was incredibly headstrong about the game and really wanted it to succeed, partly because I am a disgruntled Star Rail player and so I had very high expectations for Etheria Restart, which is probably why I am more disappointed than the average player. So the first thing that you notice when you enter Etheria Restart is the great optimization. I already talked about this in a previous video, but Etheria Restart is a turn-based RPG game, and you'll have to really try to screw up the optimization in a turn-based game, so it came as no surprise to me when it ran really smoothly on my garbage little potato laptop, especially when compared to Wuthering Waves on its launch day, and even when compared to Star Rail. I of course did experience some stuttering when recording on OBS, but that's completely normal for my garbage little potato laptop. The other thing you notice is how absolutely beautiful this game looks. Everything about the art style, from the world building to character design to enemy design, is pretty much perfect in my eyes. I see no flaws in how the game builds any of these aspects, except that the character design is incredibly goon bait. The game itself doesn't lean into any goon bait aspects. I haven't really seen any insane jiggle physics like in ZCZ or trailers that would rate as 18+ if somebody properly reviewed them. It's just the designs themselves that are very goon bait. Nothing too wrong with that, just something that I wanted to point out, and something that, despite me still absolutely loving the character design, I'm not the biggest fan of. Rosa and Veronica still have me on my knees, but they would have had me on my knees whether or not their designs were super goon-baity or not. Now, optimization and character design is where my praise for this game ends. Everything else is either just okay or bad. First of all, the combat in this game is basically just a copy and paste of Star Rail's combat, with the only system being different is the skill point system being traded for a cooldown system, which I'm honestly not a very huge fan of. There will probably be characters that manipulate these cooldowns, and those characters would definitely be overpowered. Now, the combat being basically the same as Star Rail isn't an issue in and of itself, it's just that it's very bare bones and nothing special, just like Star Rail's combat. These same issues people had with Star Rail's fights being very stale and just hit the right opponent with the right elements are the same issues people will have with Etheria Restart's combat. Except Star Rail went ahead and fixed that by adding characters that have unnecessary resistance penetration and infinite weakness implants. I hope Etheria Restart doesn't fall into that same trap, making characters that bypass any elemental type or weakness system, which would make the combat even more boring than it was before, but instead make lots of niche team comps that all have their uses in both PvP and PvE sections of the game. Other than that, the combat is basically just Star Rail but slightly different. You won't have a different experience playing Star Rail or Etheria Restart in PvE modes. Character kits in Etheria Restart are pretty similar to HSR, simple turn-based RPG stuff, and I find that they actually take some more creative freedom with their units. HSR seems to refuse to add any unit that gives another unit invincibility for a turn. Meanwhile, Valeria, a unit that you can get for spending 99 cents, has an ability that both heals and gives invincibility for a turn. I do think if they continue to go down this route of creativity and niche playstyles, they'll have a much healthier meta state than Star Rail, but for now we don't really know too much, and for the foreseeable future the games are very similar. Again, nothing particularly wrong with copying a larger, successful game, it's just that that larger, successful game doesn't really have a perfect system that deserves getting copied. Now I also want to point out that I'm not here to hate on Etheria Restart for the point of defending StarRel. I'm just here to criticize the game. If you've been paying attention in this video at all, or if you visit my channel for like 5 seconds, you will know that I don't like Honkai StarRel anymore. I want Etheria Restart to be more successful just to prove that everything in StarRel has been doing is absolutely trash. This video is just to explain why I think Etheria Restart is never going to do that. Now, Etheria Restart's gacha system may at first seem very good, and while it certainly has much better rates and pity than any Hoyo game or Wuthering Waves, having only 100 pity and no weapon banner and no 50-50, there's actually a small little thing called light and dark characters and character banners that I find really weird. The rates for these characters are technically lower than other units because the currency used to pull these units is much rarer, and rather than feeling like they're a proper addition to the game and a type of character you want to chase, these characters just end up feeling like they're added in for profit. Nothing wrong with wanting profit, it's just that you have to make whatever you're profiting off of feel different. These units really don't feel too much different other than being a lot stronger. I think it would have been both a lot simpler and a lot more player friendly, and actually probably better for the overall health of the game to just not have these light and dark units and keep them normal SSR units. Other than that, Etheria Restart's gacha system is pretty good. Now let's get into the good parts, or the part about the bad stuff. It's the good part because this is where people usually get heated. First, while the overall world and universe the game is set in is pretty cool, the stories executed inside this universe are pretty mid. The story quests are incredibly yappy, thank god for the skip button, and nothing too interesting really happens. In the case of StarRel, at least the overall lore going on is actually interesting, while the storytelling is trash. In Etheria Restart, both the lore and storytelling weren't really up to par, and this definitely makes Etheria Restart's story mission a step or two below StarRel. So here's the thing, if you come to Etheria Restart as a former Honkai StarRel player, or even current one, looking for an experience similar to Honkai StarRel, you definitely won't get one. The story for this game is really not its strong suit, and I honestly don't even think they really care about it too much. The PvP is going to be the focus of this game, so if you come play for the PvP, then you will most likely enjoy the game. So you have to come with a non-Honkai StarRel mind to really enjoy this game. Although, even though the PvP is actually pretty good so far, and wouldn't be getting too much worse unless they had a lot of power creep, too many limited characters, way too little pull so people can't get every new limited character and so on and so forth, the animations for this game are incredibly rigid and janky, and just not pleasing to look at whatsoever. Playing this game at 2x speed looks like I'm playing StarRel at 3x speed, but with like half the frames deleted. Not because the FPS is bad, but because everything looks very rigid. I think I hit the nail on the head when in a DM with one of my friends I said that this game has 2010 mobile game animations with a 2025 gacha game art style. The models and world are all really good, but they move around like they're a toy robot you got for your 8th birthday. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but I just really don't enjoy looking at whatever the fuck is going on the screen during battles. This is one thing that I really don't think they can fix before the game releases, and while a lot of people, especially those that are going to play ER just for the PvP, will overlook this jankiness, a lot more people won't. Even if something plays well, you probably won't keep playing it if it doesn't look pretty. A well-seasoned, well-done steak probably tastes good, but the texture is like shoe leather. Etheria Restart's combat plays well, but the animations are more rigid than your grandmother's joints. Now, the thing that I actually hate the most about this game is its terrible combat UI. The skills on the bottom right don't have a progression from basic to skill to ultimate, and while that isn't the worst thing in the world, it's still a little bit icky. The action bar is the worst thing that humanity has ever designed ever. It belongs in the depths of r/crappy design. While it doesn't look too terrible on the surface, you quickly realize that the positions of the characters on the bar depends on their speed, and I found myself really needing to look to figure out who's going next, instead of like in StarRel, just having to glance once and instantly knowing who's going next. So that's basically everything I wanted to talk about right now. Other than what I mentioned today, I haven't really experienced Etheria Restart too much because of the unpolished nature of the game, the over-similarity it has to StarRel with its combat, its story, and every other little detail that just turned me off about the game. I was definitely too headstrong about it, I won't lie, and it just ended up with me being disappointed, although I will still watch Etheria Restart's career with great interest because it does have a bright future. In my opinion, I think delaying the game a few months to polish up everything would have been their best case scenario if they haven't already done the purchase rebate beta and announced their release date. So right now, a delay is unrealistic, and I think they should focus up the first few updates on polishing the game fully. The launch will be a bumpy ride, but if they work hard, we will have a decent game on our hands. Not a StarRel killer at all, I mean barely even a competitor in my opinion, but still a decent game. If StarRel was a AAA game, Etheria Restart would be a AA game. So that's it, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this in the future, and join the Express and Discord server for a fun and lovely community to hang out with, and for pictures of my cat. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time.